It was not an ordinary morning, although nothing in it seemed unusual at first glance. Yet my heart sensed from the very first moment that something in this house had broken. I saw my daughter coming down the stairs from the rooftop, her steps slow and unsteady, as if the ground itself no longer recognized her. Her small body trembled unnaturally, her hands hanging loosely in the air, and her eyes were wide open, fixed on an emptiness I could not see. I called her name again and again, but she did not answer. I moved closer and placed my hand on her shoulder, feeling a strange coldness pass through me. Not the cold of the morning air, but the cold of fear settling deep in my body. I asked her what had happened, but she said nothing. She only raised her trembling hand and pointed upward toward the rooftop. When I bent closer to examine her, I noticed a faint smear of blood on her neck. There was no wound, no scratch, just a mark as though something had touched her skin and vanished. In that instant, the walls of the house seemed to close in on me, and the air grew heavy, almost impossible to breathe. I left my daughter standing there and climbed the stairs to the rooftop, whispering prayers with every step, trying to convince myself that a simple explanation awaited me. But the rooftop was unnaturally silent, as if all sounds had withdrawn from it. In the middle of the floor lay a dark shape. It was a crow. Its body was stiff, its feathers spread in a grotesque way, and its eyes were wide open, frozen in a terrifying stare, as if death had forgotten to close them. I reached for a plastic bag to pick it up and throw it away, but the moment I touched it, it moved. Its wings burst open violently, its harsh caw pierced my ears, and it struck my face with its wing as if attacking me. I screamed in terror and hurled it with all my strength off the rooftop, repeating prayers without awareness. When I looked at my hand afterward, I saw blood, the same blood that had been on my daughter's neck. That feeling did not leave me for the rest of the day. There was something unseen pressing against my chest, an invisible grip tightening around my heart. I tried to act normal, but my eyes followed my daughter's every movement. She was unusually quiet, sitting in silence, staring at the ceiling for long stretches of time, sometimes smiling for no reason at all. Whenever I asked her what she had seen on the rooftop, she lowered her head and said nothing. When my husband returned in the evening, I hid my fear behind a tired smile. We ate and exchanged ordinary conversation, yet I felt something heavy sitting between us, something unspoken. That night, sleep did not come easily, and when morning arrived, it carried fear with it. I woke up and did not hear my daughter's voice, which was strange. I entered her room and found her lying on the bed, her face pale, her lips colorless, her eyes half open. On her neck, that dark line had returned, clearer than before. I lifted her into my arms, trembling, and we rushed her to the doctor. He said it was nothing serious, just exhaustion, and prescribed painkillers. I tried to believe him, but my heart refused to rest. We returned home, my husband went back to work, and I was left alone with my anxiety. While I was cooking in the kitchen, I heard a faint movement. I ignored it at first, thinking it might be a mouse or a stray cat, but the sound persisted insistently. I opened the high window of the air shaft and leaned forward to look. Suddenly, a large crow lunged at me, striking my face with its wing. I stumbled back in terror and boiling water nearly spilled over me. I collapsed onto the floor, gasping, my heart pounding wildly. That night, when I finally drifted into sleep, the paralysis came. It was not an ordinary dream. I saw my daughter lying atop an abandoned grave, motionless, surrounded by crows tearing at her flesh with their beaks, without a sound. I tried to scream, but I was trapped inside a grave myself, watching through a narrow opening, unable to move. When a beak pierced my leg, the pain was real. I woke up screaming, tears streaming down my face, the pain still burning where it had struck. I rushed to her room to check on her. In the darkness, I saw something moving on her body. When I turned on the light, I saw a small crow pecking at her with its beak. Suddenly, the light went out, and in the darkness, I saw red eyes watching me. Trembling, I opened the window and struck it until it escaped. I collapsed onto the floor, crying, knowing then that something evil had entered our home. In the morning, her bed was empty. Panic seized me as I searched until I found her on the rooftop, standing motionless, holding a new crow's corpse in her hands. This time, the doctor did not deny the seriousness of her condition: severe anemia, endless tests, hospitals, and our money began to vanish rapidly. Day and night I heard the crows outside our windows. My daughter murmured in her sleep, whispering in a weak voice, as though she saw things I could not. When I asked my husband to borrow money, I saw tension in his eyes. He told me that his nephew, his brother's son, was also ill, a young boy, the same pallor, the same symptoms. I felt then that it was no coincidence, as though something unseen was hunting children. We were left with only a small amount of money. I bought medicine for the boy, then food with the intention of charity. Standing in the kitchen, I cried silently and prayed, "Oh God, this is all I have left." I gave the boy his medicine and stayed until he calmed and slept, seeing gratitude in his mother's eyes. That night, I saw a different dream: a white crow fighting a black crow, a long, fierce struggle, until the white crow finally prevailed. I woke with an unfamiliar sense of peace. In the morning, the news came that the boy had improved. I climbed to the rooftop and found my daughter pointing to the sky, smiling. A white crow was flying away in the distance. There was nothing in her hands, no fear in her eyes. I prostrated myself in prayer and wept, finally understanding that some evils are not defeated by force, but by mercy and sincere intention.